Note, this novel based on fictional events created by the author himself, no characters or places mentioned in it were real. Shonina's Fraud. This damn ebook novel brought to you by the one and only Classtro. Chapter 1, The Old Fox. In the fog-laced city of Shonina, where the towers leaned over cracked streets like crooked judges, lived an old man named Alfred Rox. To the public, he was a gentleman, polite, mild-spoken, with a cane of mahogany and a smile that could melt suspicion. But behind that wrinkled face lay a mind sharpened by decades of fraud. He hunted weakness. Desperation was his scent of prey. And one day, he found it in the Garvam family, 3 brothers living in a decaying estate at the edge of the city. Thomas, the eldest, was once a carpenter but now too old to lift a hammer. Tima, the middle one, was jobless, tired, and hungry for a miracle. And Tom, the youngest, barely 16, still carried the brightness of dreams before they fade. Chapter 2, The Offer. Alfred came to them wearing his best white coat and carrying false kindness. "I can take this burden off your shoulders," he said. "Your estate, your debts, your troubles, gone." He offered a ridiculously low sum, 1/3 of what the property was worth. Thomas clenched his fists. Tima sighed. Tom, too young to understand contracts, only looked at the old man's shiny watch. But, Alfred added softly, "The law requires all living owners to sign, even the young one." Thomas protested, "He's underage." But Alfred, knowing the loophole he was about to break, smiled and slipped an envelope across the table: money, gifts, sweets, and promises. To Tom, he became a hero, a giver, a grandfather figure. To the brothers, he became a necessary devil. And so, one rainy night, under the flickering lamp, all 3 Garvams, including little Tom, signed the agreement that stripped them of their heritage. Chapter 3, The Silent Crime. The estate was now Alfred's. Within months, he began unlicensed construction, turning the old mansion into a dirty industrial project. The neighbors complained, but Alfred's money muffled every voice. The Garvams moved to a small apartment near the train station. Thomas grew sick, Tima bitter, and Tom silent. Yet the youngest never forgot the smell of their old garden, nor the crooked grin of the man who took it. Years passed. Tom studied land estimation, perhaps as a silent rebellion against the man who fooled him as a boy. Chapter 4, The Revelation. One bright morning, a lawyer named Hendrik Vale visited Tom. "I need your expertise," he said. "There's talk of a fraudster in Shonina who's been buying estates at illegal rates. I need a fair estimator to help me expose him." Tom agreed. When he arrived at the site, his legs froze. The half-ruined walls, the twisted iron gates, the smell of burnt oil, it was his old home. He checked the records. His name, his brother's, and Alfred's signature were there, proof of the crime that began his family's ruin. Tears welled up. He whispered, he bought it for nothing, for nothing. Chapter 5, The Fear of Exposure. Tom asked the lawyer for one day, just one day, he said, to think before filing a case. But news travels fast in Shonina, especially among the wicked. Alfred heard that Tom Garvam, the boy he once bribed, was now the man who could destroy him. Panic overtook the old fraud. He had escaped justice all his life, but now it stared back with the eyes of the child he corrupted. He called a man, a faceless killer, and muttered, "Make it quiet. Make it quick." Chapter 6, The Blood in the Rain. That night, Tom walked home through the narrow alleys of South Shonina. A shadow detached itself from the wall. 3 flashes broke the darkness, bang, 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 and Tom fell into a puddle that reflected the trembling streetlights. He died before dawn, with his eyes open, staring at a memory of his home. Chapter 7, The Brothers' Revenge. When the police arrived, the file was thin, the motive unknown. But Thomas and Tima knew. They'd smelled Alfred's rot long ago. They went to his office the next night, empty, silent, filled with blueprints and lies. Tima lit a match. Thomas dropped the fuel. The flames swallowed Alfred's empire, the smoke spiraling like ghosts of every deal he'd ever forged. When Alfred saw the blaze from his apartment window, he understood. His fraud was exposed. His sins were calling. He poured himself a final drink, whispered, "Forgive me," and pulled the trigger. Chapter 8, The Feast of Ashes. 2 days later, Thomas and Tima heard the news. Alfred rocks, dead by suicide. But the brothers felt no peace. They went to the morgue, where Alfred's body lay stiff and pale. To them, he was not a man, he was the devil who devoured their family. And so, in a moment of madness, grief, and vengeance, they did the unthinkable. They stole his corpse, dragged it into the forest behind the old estate. And under a blood-red dawn, they ate him. No words were spoken. Only the crunch of bones, the cracking of revenge, and the silence of the cursed city of Shonina. Epilogue. Years later, the burned office was rebuilt into a memorial by Hendrik Vale, the lawyer who never knew the full story. He called it, "The Price of Greed." And every night, in the fog, some say you can hear a child's voice whisper. He bought it for nothing.